What it do, KTTV? This is KT, and I'm coming to you live with another episode of the Daily K Podcast. And on today's episode, I have my previous, what am I? Invitee, a previous invitee of you all.
Yeah.
Yes, it's, Mr. Joseph, Mrs. Danessa, Barr from the Danessa Podcast, Conversation from the Couch. How y'all doing?
We are doing well,
Yeah.
man. Yes, you are our official couch cousin.
Yes.
Hey, look, I
Couch cousin.
will take it. I will take it. So, first off, I want to say thank you all for having me on your show. What a great experience. Awesome graphics on the drop. So how have you all been doing since then?
Wow.
Whew.
I'll let you go first.
That's
on
a
that.
loaded question. Well, you know, as an administrator, we got back from Thanksgiving break, and it's just been, this week has gone by so fast because so many deadlines are approaching. There's so many, like the students are just like, you know what, we're in between breaks. We don't know what's going on. And so work has just, it's been a lot, but it's been fun, but it's been so much. Our son's birthday is this month. My husband's birthday is this month.
Happy birthday, brother.
Appreciate that.
Making sure we have like birthday festivities organized and ready to go. My friends are like, hey, you haven't sent out the invitation. Are we still having the birthday? I'm like, you all just give me a break. Just give me until the weekend and I got you. So it's been busy, but it's been good.
Yeah.
Same here. I mean, I think towards the end of the year, everyone has those deadlines. Reports you have to turn in. The fourth quarter is wrapping up, so I've been extremely busy as well. But I ate good this Thanksgiving, so I'm still on that high. So I'm not gonna get too down. But I'm looking forward to my son's birthday and Christmas and my birthday as well, turning 37.
Come on now, man. Look. We'll count it all joy, is what they say, right?
Yeah.
Hey, that's it, man. So now that we know how real it's been on y'all and that y'all are real people. Give us a little bit of background on y'all, and even some of it for the podcast.
Sure. So we are husband and wife. We have been married for 9 years.
9 years.
We have been together. She knows that
11 years.
Listen, once you get married, my job is to keep track of the anniversary day.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and we both work in the human services field, and I know every couple feels like they have great conversations, but we really have very interesting conversations because I think our personalities
are totally different.
Are so different, and we can go I like to go really, really deep, and she likes to kind of. No, you're not shallow, but I know it's probably a better way to articulate it. So, as you know, if you're not familiar with the Danessa Podcast, we like to keep it 100% real, authentic. One day I went out to Best Buy and I bought some podcast equipment behind her back.
Yeah.
That's a story.
like the sneaky Amazon boxes.
That's for a different day.
And we were like, hey, we got to use it. So here we are today.
It didn't go quite like that, but we'll say it went like that, but that's not how it went.
That was one of them interesting conversations.
Yes, it was a very interesting conversation. And I don't know if we would let our couch cousins be a part of that.
Man, that is cool. Like I say, awesome work. And so how long has the podcast been going?
We are in season 2. We've been doing it for 2 years now, maybe?
A year. We started in 2020.
I thought we started in 2019 for some reason.
No, remember like the pandemic, things were kind of slowing down and we began at the beginning of school.
That's true.
August.
We've had the vision. We've had a vision for 2 years.
Yeah.
But we got, up and rolling the following year.
Yeah.
Look, but the thing is, like I say, with so much going on, dude, it feels like it's been 2 years because it's been a lot. So I think that's why shows like today is so important, where you get to talk about those three. Usually when people fill out the form, I just take one thing from it and say, okay, this will be the title. But with you all, it's like the topics. It's say relationships, education, mental illness. So mental health. So we got to talk about all those, right?
And we love all those topics. It's so exciting.
I think it has to be because these days we got to figure out how to just get by piece by piece.
Yeah.
So I guess starting it off and talking about the education field, since that's where we at. Hey,
Yes.
so and taking it broader than just our sector, but I'm thinking about like online courses and those keys. There's so much information out here these days. Until that is almost a freedom when we're looking at how education unlocks keys to the future, right?
Mhm.
So thinking that we're in a system where we're perishing almost from knowledge, how do we get people to see that education is the key to getting out of poverty versus getting a job?
Wow.
Well, that I love that question. I think
Yeah.
it's a really good one. And putting value back on education is really going to be on the educators that are in education.
Mhm.
We need to make sure that the light that we're shining. I know on social media sometimes we like to, as educators, we might want to get on there and be like, "Oh, it's so hard, it's so tough," and complain. But no, we need to talk about the great things that we're doing inside of those classrooms,
Mhm.
the great things that are going on the collegiate level,
Mhm.
and how those eventually can turn into your careers. And we all know that you don't have to go to college. If that's not your path, that is fine. But getting into some type of career should be your end goal. So it's going to start with educators in the field really shedding a wonderful light on it, as well as going to our legislators and talking about the importance and telling them the differences that we're making in the
Yeah.
classrooms
Mhm.
and how they're going to have to change the way that they are deciding
Yeah.
what school is going to look like.
Mhm.
I think that we don't use our voices enough. And we really need to use the power of our voices because we are in the trenches with the
Mhm.
students on the day-to-day basis. On the collegiate level, they are in the trenches with the students on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
So we have to be empowered with what we want to talk about and make sure that our voices are being heard, because knowledge is power. It can get you out of poverty. Growing up, I was in a single parent household. We weren't poor of the poor, but we weren't the richest of the richest either. But being able to get an education and move beyond that, I am not where I was when I was growing up. So I can see the difference that it really can truly make inside of someone's life. So if we as educators show the difference and make them understand the difference,
Yeah.
that's going to start to turn the tide.
Man, look, when you say we don't use our voices, I remember it was coming up for education, lieutenant or whoever the guy is down here, right?
Mhm.
And so we said, okay, we in Texas. It's probably not going to be a Democratic guy. So how do we band together as educators to get what we want from the Republican? When I tell you the way they looked at me when I showed up to that Republican site to vote, they thought they thought they thought it was crazy. But that was even the district pushing that 70,000 people. Okay, well, let's get on this and use our voice for this. So, but I think about it, there hasn't been a time before that we did that, and it hasn't been a time since that we banded together for change. So, Brother Joseph, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm not in the field,
Yeah,
but my wife is in the field,
yeah,
and I support her and I'm
yeah.
invested as well.
Mm-hmm,
And my approach is just to be 100% honest with the young people
mm-hmm.
today when it comes to education. I work in the field of addiction and recovery, and one of the first things we do, we like to be 100% honest with the patient that's in the office. Like, listen, if you continue to live this type of lifestyle, here are your options. And we all know you either go to death, jail, or recovery. Just be honest with the students. Like, listen, we're not saying that college or further education is the answer to everything. However, it does set you up and it will put you in a better position as opposed if you don't go that route.
Yeah.
I remember telling one of the young men I mentor, I wasn't the best college student. I didn't make straight A's. I wasn't on the dean's list, summa cum laude, any laude whatsoever.
Thank you, Lottie.
But
Hey,
just by finishing,
yeah.
it put me in a
Makes a difference.
position to where I am today. And
Mm.
once you get into that position, if you just simply work hard, you will be able to make a good situation out of your life. So just giving yourself more of an opportunity and more of a chance. And if you don't hear the numbers that says
Man, that
otherwise.
to the contrary, huh, man.
Yeah.
And one big thing about that is thinking about outside of that classroom, and looking at so many online courses these days, right?
Yeah.
Like so many ways I'm not gonna lie, I be getting flooded with like people who saying, "Oh, come take this online course, and you don't have to leave your house." So I'm thinking of how do we even push the ease and importance of getting people like our parents to take those classes. Like, I wonder, does that start with inside of the educational system here, or do we come back to the other side and really go out to the communities and really push adult education as well as the kids? Because I think that's where it starts.
I think I'm going to have to say it's adult education and getting into the community.
Yeah.
And changing some of the thought patterns and processes of those that are maybe a little bit older than us, and showing them some of the avenues and the ways that they can go. But we need to be careful. Just because there's so much information out there and there's classes that you can take doesn't mean that it's going to be good quality information.
Facts.
So when we go out there into the community, we need to make sure that we're pushing something that's really going to hook them, connect with them, and improve them. Because if it's really not going to genuinely help the older generation first, then they're not going to want to share that information with the younger generation. And so the younger generation needs to find it relevant as well and have good quality information. I think it's great that you can be in the comfort of your own home and do, as they say, PD in your PJs.
Yeah.
That's great. That's wonderful. But is this PD in my PJs really going to help better me as a person? And so we need to find information that's going to be helpful and really be resourceful. Joe brought up a point about like the working hard. And so is there education out there about how to work hard, how to improve my work ethic, how to improve my daily habits and things like that? That type of information will really turn a tide of a whole community, opposed to learning more about the planets of the earth, like, and different things like that. Really good quality information that's being provided.
Differentiated and relatable.
Yeah.
Hey, that's it, man. So, Joe, in your field, I know you say recovery. Yeah. So, addicts in recovery, like now they're even making classes where if you want to be a counselor or you want to do such and such. So how is that seen in your field? Like, let's just say I'm at the house, I'm seeing this, and I want to take this online course that makes me a counselor. Is that a way to go for somebody trying to do that?
Yes, listen, this is the time. If you're an undergrad right now and you're a little bit unsure about what direction to go, or you may have an interest in counseling, but you've always heard that there's no money in psychology and counseling. Listen, young lady, young man, there is plenty of money out here, because unfortunately right now we have a lot of individuals struggling with using substances, and we have a lot of individuals struggling with personality disorders, anxiety, depression, mental health in general. There is a big need there, and we do not have enough bodies. We do not have enough competent and capable people who are able to deliver these services. And they have really broadened the opportunity to seek out and go out and find the information and education. So you can stay home and enroll in online courses. If you already have your bachelor's degree, you still can go into a master's program and get your master's degree in psychology or counseling or whatever, because we're just looking for good people who have a heart for it. And they will pay you a decent salary as well. I can honestly say that the improvements in salary has really increased because we want to make sure that the services that we are delivering are stellar services that are really going to help people and make a difference.
Man, and I just I don't know what happened to all the people. I don't know if it was the pandemic and so many people left the work field. Because when I tell you it's just shortages of people, service workers, I think about at work right now, and I'm still feeling like positions, and we are at Christmas break, so man, it's just crazy. So on top of the lack of knowledge, I know for my people it's exposure, but then it's also finances. Are you all kind of seeing that in the same area?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm not in the education field, but I hear about it all the time. I know, especially in South Carolina, the wages for teachers and school counselors are just not up to standard.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you got to put food on your table. We have bills to pay. We have to make sure that our quality of life is decent enough. And that if you have student loans, you can pay back your student loans. So I want to make sure that I go into a career that's going to be able to check all those boxes. And I know for a lot of teachers and educators, it doesn't pay them.
Yeah.
Man.
And the work in the education field that has to be done, it's not easy.
No.
So if I'm already not getting that competitive salary and I'm working hard, you don't work a 9 to 5 in education or a 7:30 to 2:30. There's no such thing as that. You're working long hours and then I'm not getting the pay to compensate me. It is difficult for them to stay in education. A matter of fact, I was talking to another administrator today, and a person is putting in their resignation and they're getting out of education to go into another field because they just can't take it.
Yeah. Look, I even have healthcare, even in healthcare, school nurse, right? So you think about she said, no, I can go to the and I had a friend, I said, yeah, we looking for a school nurse now. She laughed. She said, man, I made that my first year I graduated. She said I couldn't even come back. But that's the realization of it, right?
Yeah.
So like I say, it's just shortages everywhere. So man, I understand. But the thing is, like you say, people are hurting, and people need that counseling. So man, big shouts out. So speaking of counseling, that goes right into the relationship side, right? This includes, I guess, like social relationships, marriages, like y'all, black love, your girlfriend, boyfriends, all those. I remember doing a series on Wellness Wednesday, and we talked about narcissism, right? We talked about the cycle of narcissism, and we had some good things on there. Have y'all ran into any issues like that?
I told you I was gonna let him start with this.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, narcissism is extremely prevalent now, more than ever, and a lot of more narcissists are being created on a daily basis, and that's due to social media. Social media has made everyone just completely fall in love with themselves and want to be the center of attention and think that they are the most special thing walking on this earth, which is nothing wrong with that. You need to have, it's good to have high self-esteem and high self-worth. But unfortunately, when you go into the realm of narcissism, it's really dealing with a person who really doesn't have high self-esteem and high self-worth. So they're kind of putting on a front and an air. So that's why it comes across the way that it does, feeling that you're better than someone. A person who is really confident and really secure in themselves doesn't need to feel that they're better than someone. They want to help, they want to uplift, and they realize that at the end of the day, we're all the same. We're all God's creation. But when you're dealing with someone with a personality disorder like narcissism, things like that do not apply. But I personally know narcissists in my life, unfortunately. But I'm not married to one, and hopefully my wife doesn't think she's married to one.
Oh no, that's how I told you. Yeah, no, that's how I said this one is yours now.
Yeah.
I think that narcissism is definitely becoming more prevalent in this day and age, unfortunately. And I think that it's easier to put a label on it, because I think there have been a narcissist all along, but it was just like ones that were just overtly like all about themselves and just full of themselves. And now it looks in a different way. It's not the same as like a Adolf Hitler, or something like that. Everyone's not an Adolf Hitler at this point.
No.
It could be that Instagram model that is posting pictures of herself or himself constantly. So narcissism is definitely something that I think there needs to be some more help for narcissism. And I think that people are going to need to have real conversations about it, because it is becoming way more prevalent than it was, say, even 10 years ago.
But the drawback from narcissism, like true diagnosed narcissism, and what we're seeing now, and the reason why I'm saying it's becoming so prevalent and people are meeting that criteria, because one of the worst things on the realm of narcissism is a lack of empathy. And we're seeing that a lot more in today's society. We do not empathize. We do not care about each other. If you do not think and act and see the world the way I do, I don't care about you. Stay away from me. You're not important. So that's and I'm seeing more and more people adopt that mindset mentality. So it's getting scary. It really is.
Yeah. And I mean, man, and it transfers over too from big people to little people.
Yeah.
Woo, hey. So man, thank you for that. That was a great recap. So now thinking about the opposite side of relationships, thinking about business relationships, right? And so as we look at I'm not gonna lie to you. I just reached out to a lady who I know she did at least about 10 million last year. Like I'm talking about a beast. And I just DM'd her and I said, hey, would you such and such? Sent her the information. She said, sure. Right. So I'm waiting on her to set it up. My superintendent, right? He was superintendent of the year here in Texas. Look, man, I need you to do such and such. But it's just reaching out to him. So when you're thinking about that and you all's experience, and I'll chime in after the fact, giving people keys to unlock the future, build those relationships, how do I begin to reach out to somebody and kind of start that foundation on and it's not even podcasting, I'm just thinking about that, but let's say I want to be that counselor, right? And I want to reach out to you to talk to you about that. How do I go about it?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take it back to what we talked about last time with the narcissism, not thinking that you are better than someone else or more special, and not thinking that just because someone may have a lot of followers or a lot of money in their bank accounts, that they're more special and better than you are. It's crazy when I looked at that question, it resonated with us so much because hey, we reached out to you. You're a big deal to us.
Yeah, you're a big deal to us.
And we had another guest on our podcast this season, Dr. Alicia Watkins, who is very well known. Her husband, Boyce Watkins, is very well known. And
yeah, Dr. Boy.
Yeah, I reached out to her, and we're in the same field as far as counseling goes, and I just took a shot, and it worked. Like you have to be fearless. And you have to understand that they're people just like you. And because they have, so they appear to have so much more than you do, it often pushes people away and people are afraid to reach out to them. So when they do finally get that DM and their call, they're excited.
Yeah. And I would also say, to go along with that, is being just kind of comfortable with who you are and realizing your gifts and your talents. And so now I'm going to reach out to Brother Thomas, as you did, and try to see if he can come on this podcast, because he has something else that he can bring extra to the listeners, per se, in this situation. And you want to be able to connect and make relationships with people. You can bring something to the table and they can bring something to the table. It's a mutual agreement, if you will. It's not just one person bringing something. And so I think if you want to build a relationship with someone where they're on the path that you want to be on, just come to them and be like, hey, I'm really thinking about being an educator. I'm really thinking about going into counseling. Can you share some tips and tricks with me that help you to become so successful? And just be genuine. And when they share with you, you take that information, and like the old African proverb, being an effigy, after you get that information from someone, then you be a bridge and you share the information with the next person. It's not a competition. It's not a race. It's not a match, if you will. It's building one another up. And I think if you can have that mindset about it, it makes it easier reaching out to people. We're helping one another, because your podcast, when people are joining and listening, it's building people up. So when you're able to get the superintendent on here, when you're able to get those people, that person that's making $1 million, a day or whatever, that's going to help to build someone. And that's the purpose of coming together to build relationships.
Yeah, I agree, man. Like you said, being fearless, right? I remember I reached out to Dr. Iris, like the founder of Glory Greens. And so I was like, okay, Dr. Iris. I sent her an email, right? Just talking to her, sent her a picture. I had some greens in my pantry. I said, I'm already on it, Dr. Iris. But she came on, right?
Yeah.
And so, but just like you say, being fearless. I remember Nicholas, like just asking, right? But these are people who really were able to bring, man, just life-changing information because they took 5,000 and turned into 70 million. You know, so just things like that. So man, awesome information. Now, coming back out to this marriage piece. As we close out the relationships, y'all talked a little bit about it in the beginning. These interesting conversations, but what else is it that keeps relationships moving lively and forward?
I like Joseph.
Yeah.
I do. This is my friend, okay? At the end of the day, I'm going to come home and I'm going to talk to him like he's my best friend because he is. So I feel like that's really helped our relationship. When we were dating, we were friends. We were joking. We were laughing. And that's what we do now. I feel like I can be my truest self with Joe. I don't try to put on airs. Like I can have my bonnet on, no makeup, like looking crazy. And he can still, I feel like he still accepts me for who I am. So being friends in a relationship, in an intimate relationship, is really going to help. And I think that has really helped in our marriage. Also, we have hard conversations, uncomfortable conversations, if we're just being real. And I feel like that has also helped us to grow as a married couple. We keep our business to ourselves as well. We don't let all of our friends into what's going on. We don't even let our family into what's going on. If we beefing, we beefing. Yeah. If we're happy, we're happy. We don't let everyone know that. And so I feel like that's also helped our relationship.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with everything that she said. And I know that it sounds so cliche to say being friends and liking each other, but that's so important. Liking someone, loving someone, and liking someone are two completely different things. You want to make sure that you like that person because the love, that's the foundation. I mean, if it's real, you got married, you took your vows in front of your family and God, that foundation of love is it's steadfast and it's steady. But liking someone, it can go in and out, and it's a lot easier when it stays in 80% of the time and maybe going out only 20% of the time. It's a lot easier to maintain that relationship. And like my wife said, and hey, I learned from her, keep your business to yourself. Focus on yourself. Do not get caught up in what other relationships or other couples are doing in their relationships and their marriages. That's their house. Focus on what's going on in your home and you will be happy.
Yeah.
Point blank, period.
Point blank.
All right, y'all. We're going to shut the podcast down. I'll check y'all later. Look, man, that was it, bro. Oh, man, awesome information, right? From somebody that's doing it, right? And putting in the work. So awesome. Yeah. Now, before we close, I want to touch on this mental health, right? Okay. Because like you said earlier, it's real, right? We got people suffering. So in our community, we think about therapy. And Joseph, I'll start with you thinking about mental health, Black men, the bearer of the family. How do we get our brothers into therapy, man?
We have to be open and honest with each other. And we have to start just being there, genuinely being there for one another. And with Black men, especially, I don't know what it is, but it's this sense that we can't be vulnerable with each other. And it's this sense that we can't, be on the same team. We're always competing with each other. We always feel like it could only be one special, token Black person. And we can't let our brothers know anything that's going on with us because we feel like that may give them the slightest advantage. And when you living your life like that every single day, that's hard. So we have to let our guards down, understand that what I'm going through, he's probably going through it as well. So let's talk about it and let's encourage each other. You know what? Let's go get some help about this. Let's not pretend like what we're dealing with is not happening. It's not real. That's what I would start.
Yeah. And Danessa just piggybacking off that question, right? Yeah. And coming in and saying, how important is it for Joseph to have a stable mental health as the leader of the household, in your opinion?
It is so important because his mental health and his well-being, the way he is, I know they say the wife, happy life, but if Joe is not stable mentally, it affects the whole entire household. So it is important for him to have a sound mind and have peace about himself, so that he can, when he makes a decision, when he's leading the family and he says something, I can know he made it with a clear mind and not a cluttered and chaotic mind. So it is very important for him to be strong mentally. And we have mental health check-ins with one another, because we know that's something that's him being in that field, and it, mental health issues, personal disclosure, mental health issues running in both of our families. We make sure that we're okay. And I definitely always check in with Joe to make sure he's okay, because it's important.
Very important.
Mhm.
And what does I don't, just in case you want to give it, just in case people need that in their life, what does that process look like of a mental health check-in between you all?
Like I said before, having a bad day, let that spouse know, let that person know, listen, I'm having a bad day. This is what happened. I need at least 5 or 10 minutes. Or this transpired yesterday and we don't need to let it foster and linger and turn into something. So let's go ahead and talk about it now. Now, does it work, or am I always 100% on it? No, but I'm cognizant of it and I give it a full effort. So I know it sounds cliche to say communicate, but I mean, communication is really the key.
Yes,
letting that person know how you feel and what you're thinking right now.
And I also think it's important to be in tune. You know vibes.
Yeah.
When you walk into a room with your spouse or your significant other, you know something is off. You go ahead and ask the question, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
And then they have the choice whether to tell you the truth or not. But go ahead and say something, because a lot of the time, especially with men, sorry, if you go ahead and act, because you're not going to say anything, but you maybe run around like push stuff in and yes, what's wrong? And just simply asking what's wrong, what's going on.
That's true.
Most of the time, as a male, you're more likely to say something when when a female initiates the conversation.
Yeah. All right. Now this is it right here. Ooh, counseling, right? Therapy, couples. Why is important, and do I go to my pastor or my therapist?
You know what? That's a slippery slope right there, Brother Thomas, because I mean, of course, going to a professional is always what's recommended. However, I can say this. We did premarital counseling with her then pastor at the time. And brother, when I tell you that stuff works so well and it still resonates with us to this day.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. So it's funny. I just had this conversation with my staff today. And I said, listen, having all those letters, those licensures, and those certifications behind your name, it's all well and good. But if you don't have the heart to be a counselor and to provide therapy, it doesn't matter. So you will know whether it's a counselor or whether it's professional, whether they have the heart for it. And if they have the heart for it, they're going to give you good information and good therapy that's going to help you out. That'll be my answer to that.
Yeah. Let's go. Okay. Nothing to finish up.
I say go on to your therapist.
Yeah.
I say go on to your therapist first. Hey, I think it's important to be honest, because this might encourage and help someone. For a long time, I was praying it off. I wasn't, I was just like, I'm just going to pray about it, just being honest. And eventually I came to a point where, you know what? I need to pray about it and I need to go talk to the therapist about it. Yeah. And so now at this point in my life, I've been going to therapy a year strong, and I feel so much stronger on this side because God gives you knowledge to say, you know what, you need help yourself. And so going to a therapist has really helped. It has genuinely helped. I now have tools in my toolbox. When I'm stressed, when something is going on, I can decompress and I can pray and move on about my business. So I find both to be necessary. I find it both to have that spiritual aspect. You know, your pastor don't have to know everything, but it's good to have that conversation, to have that spiritual viewpoint on things. But it is also good to go to a therapist and to kind of go in that same vein of having that heart of a counselor, going to a therapist that fits you. If the therapist doesn't fit for you, then go to someone else. You need to find the right fit, because it isn't going to work if it's not the right fit for you.
Yeah, it's true. Regardless. Amen. All right. So as we close this thing out, first off, ladies first. Okay. So Danessa.
Yes.
Whichever topic that we discussed out of those three tonight, give us some words of wisdom on whichever one you choose.
You know what? I'm going to go with mental health.
Yeah.
I think that it's important to take care of your mind, because if your mind isn't right, you can't take care of others. You cannot do your job well. You cannot be effective. So when you take care of your house and your body and your mental health, you can do any and everything. You can be the educator you want to be. You can be the counselor you want to be. You can be the billionaire and millionaire you want to be, because your mind is right.
That's it.
Dang, baby. I'm gonna touch on education. I was just I'm gonna stick to what I know. Listen, mental health is so important, and it's when we talk about mental health, people automatically think about just having some type of diagnosis or anxiety. No, it's just taking care of yourself mentally, because if you're not in the right mindset, and if you're not thinking well, then you're not going to be of any use to other people. So take care of yourself mentally, and don't be ashamed to say, hey, I need some help. Where I'm at right now, what I'm doing right now is not working. And there are so many avenues that you can take. There's so many people that want to help now. I do like the fact that we're talking about these things now. And so it's not as taboo, for lack of a better term. You won't be judged. So reach out and get that help, because there are a lot of people that I see you reaching out for help on social media and you're putting all your business out there. That's not healthy. Reach out to a professional when you're going through things. They will help you.
That's it, brother. Now drop all the contact information. How do we find you? How do people connect with the podcast? Give me all that.
Yes. That's your job right there, baby. You do that better than I do.
Well, make sure that you go and like our page on Facebook at The Danessa Podcast. Also follow us on YouTube at The Danessa Podcast. You can also follow us on Instagram at The Danessa Podcast, so you can see we're The Danessa Podcast.
You have a TikTok account too, brand new.
Ain't
there many videos on there, but
hey, you got to start somewhere.
Give us a break.
And Brother Thomas is on one of our episodes of season 2 of The Danessa Podcast.
So go watch that episode after you get done here, of course.
Hey.
Go watch that episode. It's a brilliant episode, Brother Thomas. Man, you're doing big,
wonderful
things out there, man. We still get asked about your episode all the time.
And we reference it a lot in other podcasts.
We reference it a lot. It was so monumental.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. I appreciate it, man. Hey, all right, man. That is awesome. I just want to say thank y'all again for taking some time out for putting out a lot of jewels today, right? I really wanted that to be just really, you think about those sound bites, right? And just that 30 seconds that I got to grab you, or really that 10 seconds I got to grab you. What can I get? And so awesome today, man. Just thank y'all for being y'all.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yes,
it's been an honor. And anytime you want us to come on, please let us know. Because please believe, once you're a couch cousin, you're always a couch cousin.
Hey, we're the family. We locked in, man. All right. All right. I want to thank everybody for watching. This is KT for KTTV. Signing out. 100.
This is Darnell with Broadcast Houston.
This is Dr. Tamara Beckford.
Hey, this is Candace.
This is London Underwood.
This is Kirsten Bass with Inner City Greens, and you're watching.
Y'all are now tuned in to
KTTV.
KTTV.